If you've never heard the term highly sensitive person or HSP, let's get into what that actually means. I'd like to start off by clarifying today. They are not weak. We are not weak. We are not mentally ill. We do not have a problem. Our nervous system is just set to a more sensitive level than most people. That does not mean that there's something wrong with us. This is just simply a trait. There is nothing that we've done wrong. There's nothing that we can do about this. It just is who we are. They feel things so deeply and they react strongly to stimuli. HSPs are deep thinkers. They also need more time to process things, their experiences, their interactions. Highly sensitive persons are often misunderstood by most. In fact, only 1 in 5 people fall in that category of HSP. We are a special people. It's not something that we need to fix. However, it is something that we need to understand. So I'm going to put up these signs of a highly sensitive person. Unfortunately, being sensitive in our society is something that is looked down upon. And there are a lot of people out there who are HSPs and don't know it. It can make all the difference in the world, the type of relationship that you're going to have moving forward with this information. So let's get into these signs. The person often feels too much or too deeply. They are looked at as maybe crybabies or someone who needs to toughen up. We do struggle with taking on the moods and the emotions of other people. It gets overwhelming for us to be around multiple people with lots of energy coming at us. That is something that we cannot turn off. We feel a lot deeper than the average person. Our emotions are amplified. Our experiences are amplified. HSPs have a real issue with letting go of negative thoughts and emotions. So we do have to make conscious decisions and recognize when we are in that cycle so that we can move out of it. One thing that a non-highly sensitive person, I think, should really understand about an HSP is that we can get very overwhelmed by lights, sounds, smells. It's like an overload to our nervous system. We have to have our alone time. We just need our time to ourselves. We need to think through things. We need to feel through things. We are very peaceful people with big hearts. HSPs do not like confrontation. We do not like conflict, and by all means necessary, we will do whatever it takes to avoid that. Knowing that you or someone you care for or love is an HSP is the first step in moving toward and improving your quality of life if this is something that has been a struggle. I did not understand why it was so difficult for me to find my peace, to find my happiness. And it was all because I did not know that I possessed this wonderful, wonderful quality of being an HSP. My goal here today is to help you understand that being a highly sensitive person is not a burden. It is indeed a gift. My hope is that you can embrace your sensitivity and have a better understanding of who you are and what you are actually dealing with here. So we live in a world that glorifies leveling up and making boss moves, and an HSP's path is usually different from that. But let me reassure you that we are equally as valuable as the others. Our sensitivity allows us to just fully embrace and enjoy the simple beauties in life, all the simple little joys of life. We are the ones who bring artistry into this realm. We are the ones who bring compassion and empathy. That is so important. I have felt many days that I just do not belong. And if I can help someone not feel that way, then that's what I'm here for. I went way too long in life thinking there was something wrong with me and that I would never be okay with who I am. So I don't want another soul feeling like that. If you come across this video, please just know that you are not alone. There are more of us out there and there is nothing wrong with us. Different. And different does not make it bad. But things get a lot easier for you if you are able to identify yourself as a highly sensitive person. You will be armed with that knowledge and you will know how to move forward so that you are not so deeply affected and potentially immobilized by everything that you are perceiving and processing. The fact of the matter is, our world needs diversity, and we bring a unique perspective to the table. And with that perspective, we can enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. For years and years and years, society has attached so many negative stigmas to sensitivity or sensitive people. I'm just here today to try to reassure you and anyone else who might find themselves in this personality category. There's nothing wrong with you. Our nervous system is more naturally sensitive to stimuli, both internal and external. We are not crybabies. We are just more sensitive to all stimuli. There are some things that you really need to know about. HSPs need their sleep. So that varies from person to person, and that is also something with most people. However, it does tend to affect the HSP on a deeper level. A surefire way to get an HSP to completely shut down is to take them into environments that are extremely loud and unsettling for them. Like I mentioned before, HSPs often feel emotionally exhausted. So what that can look like sometimes is a person who seems like they are on just an emotional roller coaster. This can really be pronounced whenever they have just been around the wrong people in the totally wrong environment. Maybe they work in a pretty toxic environment. So if it's toxic to the regular person, it's super duper doubly toxic to the HSP. Highly sensitive persons tend to overanalyze everything, and that includes every social situation. They are reading hand gestures, they are reading body language, they are reading the eyes, they are everything that is nonverbal. We are sitting there just analyzing everything in those social situations. When I say the HSP observes in great detail, yeah. So that also makes it super duper hard to lie to an HSP. So just be aware of that. You cannot lie to an HSP. That person will pick up on the slightest little shift in your voice or your eyes or something. You can't get away with it. So it's not gonna happen. So do yourself a favor and don't even do it. Something I've had difficulty explaining to others is my inability to unsee things. HSPs really do have to be careful about the media they consume, the movies they watch, the news they consume. It can really have an effect on their emotional well-being. Or we don't do well with gore and violence and cruelty and injustice. It's just not in our nature to be okay with that stuff. a lot of violence is very unsettling to me. Our movies nowadays tend to have those three things: gore, violence, and just cruelty. So I would rather just go outside and play with my ducks or something. So we take things super, super hard. We have a hard time just letting go. So any negative experience that we have just lingers with us. Keep in mind that HSPs feel pain on a lot deeper level. So when you hurt our feelings or you say horrible things to us, it's not going to be something that we can just let roll off of our backs. We're going to hold on to that for a while. Most of us see change as uncomfortable. Across the board, most people just do not like change. However, the highly sensitive person hates it even more. It really takes them some time to adjust to their new environment, their new situation. They need to feel things out. So just give them a minute, you know? A little extra time and love is all that it takes. HSPs can be some of the biggest teddy bears, like some of the most soft-hearted people you could ever meet. And so, having said that, criticism comes to us hard, okay? So if you're going to criticize someone that you think may be an HSP, understand that it needs to be done tactfully. You know, a little extra care needs to be taken when you're going to offer up criticism. And that is completely not to say that HSPs can't receive criticism. They can. It's just they really take it to heart. And so if you can just offer up a little extra tenderness and care when delivering that criticism, it could be appreciated greatly. Okay, that's it. They will do whatever it takes to avoid conflict. HSPs just don't want to hurt someone's feelings. So what will happen in that situation? They will agree to do things that, you know, in reality, they truly don't want to do. They'll make plans with people and go to places that really they are just uncomfortable in. They will allow their boundaries to be crossed. They know what they like, they know what they don't like, and yet to make someone else happy, they will go ahead and put themselves in uncomfortable situations. This is a big one in my household right now. Highly sensitive persons generally do not like to be rushed. They like to be able to take their time with things and to focus on one thing at a time if need be. And so they don't like having a lot on their plate. It can be overwhelming or feel overwhelming for them to have a lot going on at one time. HSPs set a really, really high standard for themselves. They are really hard on themselves. And so when they cannot live up to their own expectations, it really takes a toll on us. And so because of that, I think that generally many of us do not like having a lot going on at one time. We want to be able to focus on one thing and do well on that thing. We are our own worst enemy many times, our own worst critic. So that is one of the downsides to having this type of personality. You can be really hard on yourself. One of the most important things you need to know, HSPs need their alone time. They need time to reset and rest from all of this emotional energy that they've been giving out and taking in. It is just so much on our systems. And so our downtime, our private time, our personal time is so valuable to us. And when we don't get that time, it is really detrimental to our emotional health. I know that, having been through what I've gone through these past few weeks. And so if you take anything away from this conversation today, let it be that. If you are an HSP, please take your time. Take your time. You don't owe anyone anything. You need your time so that you can kind of pull away from everyone, go into your own little world, do what you need to do, and come back better with your wonderful ability to see the beauty everywhere, okay? So take your time. I am just understanding the type of personality that I have, and I'm just recently understanding, you know, why I do the things that I do, and now I'm learning ways that can help me better live with this. Up until now, life has felt like just one big, really hard uphill climb. I've just felt so out of place in every situation, scenario, group. And now that I understand what I'm dealing with here, I can better help myself. I want to encourage any HSP out there to embrace this part of you. Embrace your sensitivity. By understanding and nurturing that part of you, you can have a happier and healthier life. Okay guys, so now that we know what a highly sensitive person is, hopefully you've identified that person in your life, or if it's you, you can relate to some of the stuff that we talked about today. Now that you are aware of the special and unique gift that you possess, you may potentially find yourself in these dark spaces that being a highly sensitive person can create for you. And you need to be able to find your way out of that. And so next week's video, I will be talking about how I was able to get out of this last lull, I guess you could say. I honestly felt myself spiraling. I knew I needed to do something, and do something quickly. That has motivated me to make this video today. So next week, I'll be talking about the action that brought me to this point. I needed to get out of that low, dark space. It can be mighty hard sometimes, especially when you're dealing with a world that doesn't quite understand you. They don't quite understand where you're coming from. They don't understand why you feel so deeply, why you hurt so deeply, you know, how something so little can make you feel so bad. So it's hard to find relatable people. That's it for me today. I appreciate you so much. I will see you back here next week. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and turn on those notifications. Bye-bye.